All right, hello, fellow coder. Welcome back to the FreshVotes series, where we're building a real-world Java web app from scratch, etc., etc. You've heard the intro before, so let's dive into this particular lesson where we are going to make a dynamic citizen out of our login button. Currently, if I do log in, it does not change. Oh, I need to have my server running. My server is not running, so that will fail. When I do try to log in, it will not work in terms of the login will work, but the button won't change to a log out button, right? It stays as login because it's not static, and also when I click on it, nothing happens at all. So we need to add some dynamic functionality to our beautiful button. How does one go about doing that? Well, we need to know a few things. First of all, the login button itself, we might be able to get away with making it a link. Okay, so if I make it, first of all, do an A tag on it instead of a button tag, I might still be able to get away with making it a button. Oh, right, but it changes it slightly. I remember that now. So no, let's make it a button, and then when we click on it, we can have something happen to that button. Now, when we should have jQuery installed for our, whenever we're using this header, because we will be also including our scripts. So it should be okay to assign an ID to this guy, of just like login btn, and then have it such that, I mean, maybe below it we can include a script, which is a bit, it's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Not common, uncommon, text/JavaScript. But this might just be the easiest way to go about doing this kind of work. So instead of having to, on every single page, wherever the login button is, create a script that allows us to click on the button, we just write the script once and include it inside of our header fragment here, so that we don't have to copy paste it on every single page. Okay, that's sort of why I'm going to go with this JavaScript functionality embedded sort of inline, like really inline, like not in the header, but rendered or created along with the regular elements, which it's perfectly fine. You're allowed to do that. There's nothing truly wrong with doing this, but it's just not very common to see this kind of thing. Typically, JavaScript is typically in the header, but there are definitely times when you see, instructions to copy paste a JavaScript snippet onto into like the body code, right? So this is not that crazy. Anyway, a long story short there, let's write some code to grab the button and make it do something. Function. Oh, come on now. I'm having some trouble typing today. And when we log in, what will happen, right? Well, we want it to go to the login page. So window.location.href equals /login. That's essentially what we want to have happen when we click on the login button, right? So that's the first thing. So let's go ahead and go back to our home page, and we click on this login button. Does it work? Yes, it does. It goes to the login page. We click on this one, it goes to the login page. If we log in and click on it, it should go back to the login page. So good. The embedded script here works fantastic. Everything is going as expected. But the more complex thing that we need to do here is to have we need to have a log out button as well. So before we get too crazy here, let's go to I think our dashboard has a log out button. Let me see, log out. So the log out button is a form. Okay, and it has to be a form because we are leveraging the CSRF protection, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. So let's go back to our header, and let's create within this div a logout button. And this guy, since it's a form that gets submitted, we probably won't need to. We don't need to have any sort of JavaScript involved, because it's a form and it'll just function like a form. At least it should. Okay, so let's refresh. Now we have the logo button. Let's make it btn large to make it match the look and feel. Okay, so if we log in and then we click on this logo button, good, it logs out. Fantastic. But obviously this looks silly, right? Having a login and a logo button next to each other. So really the pièce de résistance here that we're going for, the the real stuff is to make it such that we only see the login button when we are logged out, and we only see the logged out or log out button when we are logged in. So how the heck do we do that? Well, we're going to need to leverage potentially two things. The first one is a special type of tag prefixed with sec for security. And this is more of an attribute. Sec blah attribute. Sec authority or something like that. I forget what the... Is it a JSP tag library? Sec authorize has role. I believe that's what I leverage. Let's see if we can do it with Thymeleaf. Thymeleaf security, Spring security example or something. Let's see. Thymeleaf plus Spring security integration basics. Let's see if we have anything here. If login error, form action, blah, 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 error page, Spring security dialect. Okay, so it is still sec. So the sec authorize attribute is inspired by an old JSP tag library. Okay, so this is actually what it used to be an entire... So you see the difference? This guy, this is the old way to do it. This guy is its own element, right? But really what we have, the differentiator here is when we go to Thymeleaf, we're using a div, and the div has an attribute called sec authorize. Whereas this guy was just a tag called sec authorize. So there's a subtle but very important difference there. So basically what's going on here is we can wrap our login and log out buttons in div tags. So we can have a special div tag for our login button, and we can have a special div tag for our log out button. And you can call these divs whatever you like, but really the functionality here comes from the word sec authorize equals something. Okay? What though? What does so we don't want JSP tag libraries. This is the old way to do it. That's why as soon as I saw it, I was like, that doesn't feel right to me. What we want is Thymeleaf. So Thymeleaf has a Spring security dialect. It just happens to be called the same thing, which is why I confused myself. But more specifically, is authenticated, meaning they have logged in. So is this person authenticated or not? So that's what makes this a little bit actually easier than I was anticipating, because we can literally just say if they are not authenticated, then show the login button, right? Makes sense. If you're not logged in, show the login button. And vice versa, if they are authenticated, then show the log out button. Okay? So there might be more to this, but let's just see if it works out of the box. That I'd be thrilled if it worked out of the box. But as you can see, when I refresh the page here, I'll reboot my server just in case, but I don't think I need to reboot. I think, yeah, it's still showing both buttons. So what's going on here? Why is this not working the way we anticipated it? So that's where I was saying there's probably two things we need to do. So is there any... we use this dialect in the example in order to print the log. Yeah. The sec authorized attribute renders its content when the attribute expression is evaluated to true. Sure. The sec authentication attribute is used to print logged username and roles. Okay. But I believe we need to do more in order to make this work. Let's see. Prerequisites. We assume you're familiar with Thymeleaf and Spring Security, and you have a working application using these technologies. If you don't know how to use Spring, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, we do have those things. Login page. With Spring Security, you could specify any URL as a login page. Okay, so there's no fanciness going on here. We more or less have the same stuff. Now we have to match the pages inside a controller. So we have a login page, an error page. So there's nothing crazy going on there either. Note that we are using login.html. Here's login.html. I bring in Thymeleaf here. I mean, this should already be happening for all of our pages. If login error, username, blah, blah, blah. The error page itself has some stuff. Okay. This is the error HTML page. We don't really care about that. And then the Spring Security Dialect is here. So what I'm trying to remember. Let me just log in and see if that does anything. No, it does not, eh? Our guys are still sec authorize. So, I was imagining that this code inside the sec authorize tag would not appear at all, or not tag, but the attribute. So there's a bug here, and I need to figure out what the bug is. I feel like perhaps, yeah, the HTML doesn't define the Thymeleaf namespace here. That could be an issue. Although, no, it's right here. Thymeleaf XML namespace for Thymeleaf is indeed here. I wonder if we need to have it for the header. Oh, we do. We have Thymeleaf namespace here. But yet, the sec authorize, it doesn't recognize this. Right? So, am I missing something very obvious? I think I am. We need to include. There's another step here. I think there's a third-party library or something that we need to bring in to enable this. So there's more to it than just this. This is the basics. There's more to this. Okay, can I go to the GitHub repo and see? Let's see the source main. Web app? WebInf? No. I want to see their configuration. Web app initializer, Spring Security Web initializer. Do we have to do anything here? I don't see anything special. Security, web security, okay. Ant matchers, exception handling. Okay, there's nothing special there. Is it in the Spring Web config? I'm thinking it's in perhaps the POM file needs to have something. Enable web MVC. I'm pretty sure. Okay, Thymeleaf view resolver. This all should come in with Bootstrap should do this for us, this stuff. There's some sort of setting that I need to. Okay, let's just look for another example online. So, Thymeleaf sec authorize setup config example. Oops, that's not how you spell example. By the way, I'm using Ecosia as a search engine. If you've never seen it before, it actually plants trees for you. I've planted 446 trees by using the search engine, but I do find that it's slightly less powerful than the Google search engine, as I'm sure you've heard of. Like, for example, if you misspell something, it doesn't say, hey, it looks like you misspelled this. But you can always go and just Google like this. So I might just go to Google and then click on. Anyway, the results are similar. So let's see. I see sec authorize is being used in this example. Sec authorize, but Thymeleaf extras? Yes, that's probably what I'm thinking of. Although I don't think I'm using Spring Security 4. I believe I'm using Spring Security 5, which is the latest version. And then I believe also you need to bring something into a POM file. Do they have a POM? Yes. So right here, Spring Security Extras. This, I believe, is the dependency that I need to bring in. And I believe it's Spring Security 5 is the version I'm using. I don't know how to really confirm that. Maybe I can by going to Spring Boot Starter Thymeleaf, Starter Web. Anyway, I believe I just need to add this as a dependency. So Thymeleaf Extras. Thymeleaf extras. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Spring Security 5. That's the latest version. Maven. I don't know what version. Let's just choose one, and then we'll get rid of the version and see if Spring Boot can handle that. So we'll bring the dependency in. And then I'm going to remove 3.04 release and save and stop my server and let it compile, and we'll see if it complains about not having a version there. So when I hover over it, there you go. So the managed version is 3.0.4. Fantastic. So we're bringing that in. Now, that might be all we need to do, although this guy's example, did we see more in terms of... Right, the namespace. We brought in the namespace. Right here. So that's why it didn't recognize it in the header area. That's why it was underlined with yellow, saying, I don't know what this is. There's another namespace that we need to bring in called sec. And then I'm going to change this from 4 to 5. Oops. And that should resolve. Yeah, so now it's no longer underlined. They're not yellow anymore, so we are happy. Okie dokie, let's start up our server. I knew there was another thing, and I do this. It's one of those things where you do this once, and maybe twice, and maybe 3 times in your entire life, and then you forget about it, right? So this is, this is the struggle. There we go. So as you can see now, when I rebooted and my server and went back to the login page, the Logout button has disappeared, right? Because we are not yet authenticated. If I go log in, then the log in button turns into a log out button. Ooh, fantastic. So now if we click on log out, it goes here. If we log back in, it keeps swapping back and forth depending on if you are logged in or if you are logged out. We can go to the products, you can navigate around, and we're still, and you can even go home. It's still going to be a log out button on the home page, right? So, fantastic. Now let's get rid of the other buttons that are just sort of hanging around. Register, FreshVotes login. What's the register page look like again? Oh yeah, the register page doesn't have the header. So that's, whoops, we need to add that to the register page. Should have the header. So let's bring in the header onto the register page, like so. And then, yeah, that looks good. Create account or back, good. And then what other page was it? Had the login button? Oh, the home page, so the index had the login button sort of embedded inside of it. That's kind of not what we want to do. Let's get rid of that. And then we can get rid of the script that has the native JavaScript. Boom. Log out. And if we go log in, there's a logout button in the FreshVotes dashboard. So in the dashboard, we can get rid of the class here, or the form there. Get rid of the logout button, and there you go. So now we have a much cleaner interface, functions, as we'd expect. There's no back button here, which is annoying. So that's something that we need to look into. Anyway, so those are just minor details. So there you go. So in the next video now, we've got this, semi-functional, semi-good-looking. Ooh, this is where we can have a dashboard. Hold on. Let's go back to header. Yeah. And let's add in div class was nav bar. Shoot, what was the example we had previously? Do I have it open? No, I don't. Get bootstrap, get started, components, nav bar. We scroll down to the version that we are using, this guy. Let me grab this, because now this is a perfect situation where, again, we can say sec authorize. So if they are authenticated, then we can show some links. One of the links being dashboard, right? So I was annoyed that I couldn't go back to the dashboard page, and this is how you solve that problem, right? And then, yeah, we don't need these other items or whatever. So now if we log in, or we're already logged in, now we can go back to the dashboard by clicking on this, right? And yeah, so that's good. That's what I wanted to be able to do, is how to get back to the dashboard. That's how you do it. Okay, and if you log out, that dashboard link goes away because you're not logged in. Okay, beautiful. There we go. So now, we're making the product slightly more usable, slightly, I guess, a nicer user experience. But now we need to start really putting in some real functionality here. So we've got these products that we're creating, okay, fine, but then within the product itself, we need to be able to do something, right? We need to be able to open it up so that there's a screen to manage people's suggestions for our products. Because let's go back to the purpose of this FreshVotes program. It's to allow product creators to give an interface to that person's, the product creator's user base, and allow the users to suggest new features or whatnot. Who knows how they're going to use it, but my original thing was or the original vision was to create this to be a system for asking for features, and then users can upvote and downvote those features, right? That's the big vision for this product. Fairly simple vision, but obviously it takes a lot of videos to get us to this point. So the products are one thing. You create a product, but then that product needs to have the ability to have features being suggested, right? So we need the ability to add features. So this is kind of this is almost a different view, if you will. This is a different page that might not necessarily be a product creator screen. This could be a screen of a user using the FreshVotes system. So not necessarily even logging in, just browsing the home screen, right? The home screen maybe should list products that they can then click on and suggest features for. Who knows, right? So this is something that we'll need to dive into in the next video. I'll start my rambling on where the next step is to go. I'll try to pick something that makes obviously the most sense, and we will dive into that functionality in the next video. So in the next video, we're really going to be getting into, hopefully, some more cool functionality in terms of, creating stuff that actually makes a real difference in terms of user behavior, workflow, functionality, really. We're adding good functionality that will be useful to the end user. So looking forward to seeing you there. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube and you liked it, go ahead and click the like button. If you have any questions about the code that you saw today and you're confused about something, or you just want to, share a thought in your mind, please do leave a comment. And if you love this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, that really helps me out. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you can't do any of those things, I'm so sorry. If there's any way you can share your message or your comments or whatever, I invite you to do so in some means. But who knows where I'm going to post these videos in the future. Okay, cool. So I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Happy learning, and bye for now.